Hey. See, it's about 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. Here we go, here we go. Please be. Okay. Welcome to another Seafarers tutorial. This is the Heading for New Shores Seafarers tutorial. We will be going to 14 victory points with a 90-second turn timer. And we will get started here. And if you've never played Seafarers before, please keep in mind you're going to want to go to learn how to play Base Catan. If you don't own Base Catan in the physical board game box, you're going to want to look up a YouTube video of how to play Base Catan, how to play Settlers of Catan in general. That's where you want to get started. There's a really good white glove tutorial video from an official Catan YouTube account, I believe. Or I have some Base Catan videos, but just find yourself one and go from there. So this is Seafarers. You do start out on a first, kind of a first main island like you would in Base Catan, except there's additional islands that you can build out to, and they provide special victory points for building on them with the first settlement that you build on them. And there's also ships to be built. Other than that, your building cost card is pretty much standard fare if you've played Base Catan before. You recognize road costs, settlement costs, city costs, and development card costs, with the development card stack also hopefully being familiar to you if you've played Base Catan. If you play Base Catan without realizing that there were development cards, I apologize, but you've been missing out. So looking at this board, I'm going last. And keep in mind, when you play on Heading for New Shores scenario, you're going to want to get yourself off the main island to these extra islands. Because, again, if you've never played Seafarers, we have this resource called Gold now, which I'm sure you can figure out what that means. But let me place my settlements, and I'll be right with you. So for starters, I might just have to go 4, 5, 6, 6, 5, 3. Might not have to, or I might hit on that ore port. Yeah, let me hit on that ore port. Let's do this. Let's put a ship here for later. That we can move it over later. And then I'll hit on this 4, 5, 6. The 3-4 port might get taken though. That's what I'm kind of worried about. Okay, let's see. Will the 3-4 port get taken by purple? I think it's possible because they do need wheat. So I think I'm just going to defer to the sheep port, unless I guess there's a small chance red could take the sheep port. But if I go 3-4 port and someone just takes it right away, then I'm going to miss out on that. Or they could go 4, 9, 10 and challenge for it. So I might go up to the sheep port, double down on my brick. Yep, let's do that. Let's go to the sheep port. I have a feeling the 3-4 port's going to be taken. So, with my settlements placed, let me apologize to them. They're like all, antsy about hurrying up. Okay, apologize to them. So let me pull up the Heading for New Shores description that you can also find on Catan Universe. Catan, however you want to say it. Heading for New Shores. This has a small basic description. So the Catanians set sail for new shores, and it's pretty self-explanatory when you look at the board. Players who discover new islands are rewarded with special victory points, much like in the Treasure Islands and the Drought Scenario tutorials that I've already done in past streams, which you can find on the YouTube channel. The rules for the Seafarers expansion are in effect. Special victory points. Additionally, each small island that you build at least one settlement on is worth 2 special victory points. So this is huge. This is absolutely huge for anybody coming from just base Catan. Or if you played a different Seafarer scenario that did not provide special victory points when you built on a new island. So in this scenario, just like in the Treasure Islands and Droughts, if, let's say, I get on the sheep port and then I build out to the 4 gold, with that settlement that I build in the 4 gold, I'm going to get 1 victory point for the settlement, and I'm going to get 2 extra special victory points, additional special victory points. They're not extra special, they're special. I'll get 2 special victory points in addition to the settlement victory point for a total of 3. So if you can get plus 3 victory points in that, like that's a huge jump in victory points, which you have not seen before unless you've been able to try to combo either longest road with building a settlement, or longest road and drawing a victory point card from the development card stack in base Catan, or taking the largest army and maybe building a city. So having a 3 victory point addition to your victory point count just directly is unheard of in base Catan. So here you can do it in the Heading for New Shores scenario. So no one actually took the 3-1 port, so that is a huge mistake on me for not just going for it directly. So if the dice rolls turn in my favor, I may have to just turn right around and go for it. Because building on the 3-1 port really opens me up to both islands. I can build quickly to the 5 gold and then quickly to the 3 brick, and that'll be plus 6 victory points, which on your way to 14 is almost half the victory points you need to win. And also by building out to these new islands in Seafarer scenarios, you inherently are competing for longest road, even though you may not be trying to, or directly going for it. Okay, so there's a 7. I'm going to shut them. I don't think red has any bricks, so I think it's just purple. And I don't think they have any wood. I think it's just purple, if any. But then again, a 5 did not get rolled, so they don't have any wood either. I think I will. Purple does have a development card, so I'm just going to shut down red exclusively. I'll just shut down their wood production here. And I do get a ore. Actually, 1 more wheat will give me a city. So I actually am going to hold off on the development card I was going to buy. If I can get a city and double my production, that's going to be huge. Okay, there's another 6. Waiting on a 5. 5 will give me... Oh, wow, a road building card. That was huge. And it looks like they will cut me off to the 3-1 port. So even if I would have built that road towards the 3-1 port, I would not have been able to beat them to the 3-1 port, which is, because a 5 didn't get rolled yet. So that is highly unfortunate. And of course, there's a 7, because why not? Okay, I will just... I'll burn all of that. Now I'll keep a brick and burn an ore. Because, of course. Right. And then I will have to shut down purple this time. Can't shut down their wood. So let's not let them have any sheep. That's going to be an ore, and I'll pass. So also in Seafarers, as you may have guessed by now, you don't just build roads, you also build ships, which you can see here at the bottom of the screen. You get 15 ships in addition to your 15 roads, because I get an ore stolen from me, and you can only build the ships once you get to a coastal placement. So I started out with a coastline settlement placement on the ore port, which allowed me to build a road or a ship, either of my choosing. Now, you can if once you build a ship, you have to continue with ships until you close that shipping route off with the settlement, and then you can switch over to roads if you'd like. Now, let's say I build it to the sheep port, which I'm planning to do. I'm going to offer a brick for the wheat. Let's see if purple doesn't go for it, and I don't think red has any. So I'll pass. But once I build it to the sheep port with a settlement, I can then build out a ship on the coastline of the 6, and then build out directly into the water with another ship. Now, the really cool thing about ships, as opposed to roads, is that once you place a ship, as long as it's an open ship, not closed off by a settlement, you can actually move it to any other coastal settlement or other open shipping route on the board that you have. You can do that once per turn with an already built ship, which is honestly huge, and a huge strategy in Seafarers, which you don't have in base Catan. Once you place a road, that road is glued to the board. It's there forever for the rest of the game. And once I get into my cities and knights tutorials, I will get into how the fact that you can take away roads or move one of your roads with a certain progress card. Okay, so absolutely no one is biting on the wheat. I think purple straight up has trades turned off, which is highly unfortunate. Oh my gosh. You really can't. Yeah, I should have just four for one your cards when you're in that situation. When you have more than 7 cards, just like base Catan. Go under 8 cards if it's coming down to the wire like that, because the 7 will always seem to screw you over. And there's another 7. Okay, so purple, I don't know what red stole from purple, so I'm just gonna have to hope that I can get the wheat from purple, which I do. Okay, that's a step in the right direction. I've gotten exactly 0 wood this game, so I'm gonna upgrade the city on the 4, 5, 6. Then hopefully that gives me ore and wheat faster, so I can city up on the 5, 6. And finally we get a 5. And yeah, I think maybe that it was a good choice there to hold the 8 cards, because then I ended up burning half. I held on to the 3 ore and the 1 wheat. If I tried to 4-4 on the ore, I would not have gotten a city right there. So I finally got a city here. I'm going to build a road, and that's all I can do because absolutely no one is trading. When you get to higher level Catan gameplay, there are definitely more trades to be had. So right now though, if I get a 6, I can 4-4 on the brick, assuming I don't burn half the cards of the robber again, or I can get the 5 directly and build my settlement. And then I'll move this one ship here, it's an open ship, over to the settlement that I will have built on the sheep port, and point that ship directly towards the 4 gold. And with the gold, if you have not guessed by now, the gold, once you built on it, let's say with the settlement, and that number gets rolled, you will then get 1 resource of your choice. And then also, if you have a city on a gold spot, let's say you have a city on the 5 gold, you will get 2 resources of your choice, and they don't have to be the same resource. That's what's beautiful about it. It could be 1 wheat and 1 sheep, or it could be a brick and a wood. It could be a wood and a sheep to build an additional ship. Whatever you would like to do. Okay, so at this point I could build a second city. Or I could get the settlement. I'm going to go for the city. And then I will go ahead and 4-for-1 the brick for the wood. This is kind of tricky because they know that now they may have recognized that I have a wood, and they may want to try to steal it from me if they roll a 7. But at the same time, I don't want to burn cards again if I get a couple dice rolls, because right, my numbers are not diverse at all. I literally have 4, 5, and 6. So anytime those numbers hit, I'm getting big production, so I can easily go over 7 cards. So now what I'm hoping for is a 5, and I can build the settlement on the sheepport, and like I said, I will move the ship over to the sheepport towards the 4 gold. And also keep in mind, this layout for heading for new shores is not always going to be the same. I started playing on Catan Universe in 2016, and maybe even late 2015, and they used to have it was always the same layout for heading for new shores, but now you can actually have like 2 extra islands to build out to, but sometimes you'll get a randomized board with 3 extra islands to build out to. So do keep that in mind. And again, I still, for whatever reason, Red is building no ships from their settlement spot, their coastal settlement spot, which is very strange to me. So I will go ahead and shut down Purple with the hopes of getting a wheat. Actually, I'll shut them both down on the 8. I steal a brick. It's not quite what I wanted, but I will pass. There's an 11. Brick for a sheep. I'll say no. Now the other thing is, if I get a 4, I can use my ore port and 2 for 1 the ore for the wheat that I need. Okay, so Purple is getting ready to roll. I mean, maybe I could have put on their 11 wheat, but I'm about to be built on that very soon, and it could have been a trading opportunity. And okay, so they will settle on the 4, 9, 10. So they're up in their production before they build on the 5, 10 coastal spot and cast out with ships later. So the 8 is shut down. And there's no wheat, now that they spent their wheat, and Red does not have any. Okay, finally we get a big 5 in a huge way. And there goes a settlement for Red on the 3, 6, 11. And there we go with a 6. Okay, so now production is really cranking up. We hope to roll not a 7. It's another 6. Okay, we have 17 cards. This is unprecedented. I will build a settlement on the sheepport. And whenever you get 17 cards, make sure you go through your turn. Don't think too long, because you only have 90 seconds, remember. And take your turn accordingly. So if we look at the board, I could move the ship over and then build 2 additional ships, which will get me touching the 4 gold, which I think I'm going to want to do. Now also, keep in mind, I do have the option to build a ship and a settlement on this 6 sheep to triple up my production on sheep. So I'll get 3 sheep every time a 6 is rolled and 3 brick. But it's all about the gold, baby, so let's go. Let's cast off with ships. It's going to give us longest road as well in the process. And there we go. We have the longest road. And I think I'll go ahead and I'll 4 for 1 the brick for a wood, and I'm going to build a 1 additional ship. That way I can settle not just on the 4 gold, but the 4, 8 brick spot as well, to gain an additional number and have more production. Now keep in mind, if I would have settled on the 4 gold, I would have paid off immediately on the next dice roll, and I would have got 1 resource of my choice. But I did get the 4 ore to get 2 ore in hand, and I still have the ore port, so Purple did not roll a 7, so it's going to work out for me this go around. And there's a big 5, so I don't need to port anymore because I get the wood directly. So let's go with the settlement. So I jump up plus 3 victory points with 1 settlement. So always keep that in mind, that when you build out to a new island and heading for new shores, you get special victory points in addition to your settlement victory point. Now here I have 2 options. I could buy a development card, or I could save for a city to city up the 4-8 spot. And at this point, I think I'm going to buy the development card because my production is very good now. Okay, I get a knight. I was hoping for maybe a road building or even a year of plenty, or even a monopoly. But I will take the knight card because no one else has any knights played. Purple bought a development card earlier. They drew a road building for the first development card of the game, which is very good. It's always good to pull a road building early on. I pull a knight, which is fine. And I figured I'd buy the development card there because if I get one more 4, I get the production right back to build the city. Because I couldn't build it last turn. There's always a chance that someone rolls a 7 and shuts down my production and steals a card from me. So why not buy a development card? Because chances are you might get a knight. You might be able to just chase the robber away off your spot if the 7 did get rolled. So another big 6. And now things are picking up. So at this point, I'm going to roll dice. It's another 6. It's the luck is swinging my way today. That's all I can say. So here's another thing I want to show you all. So I have ships built out. I closed my shipping route off with a settlement. I'm going to open up a new road system, but it's going to be roads instead of ships, and I'll explain why. If you look at my cards here, I have plenty of brick and plenty of wood, and I do have the sheep port. So I'm actually going to build these ships here, these roads, because now I'm in a position where the pirate ship, I'm going to have to talk to you guys about the pirate ship. Let me finish this turn up real quick, but I'm going to talk about the pirate ship and why I placed those 2 roads, and then closed off with another settlement so I gain the 5 gold as well. I'm going to go ahead and I don't have a 3-4 port. I'm going to buy a development card. It's going to be a monopoly, and I'm going to pass the dice. So the reason I built these 2 roads here is because it limits my potential exposure to the pirate ship. So the pirate ship, which you have not seen played this whole game, is this black ship right here in the water. When the pirate ship is placed in a water hex, it effectively closes off that water hex from any new ships being built in the perimeter of that water hex. So for example, they could instead of the robber to the 6, they could have moved the pirate ship to this water hex where I have ships built. And if a player has ships built there, as I am getting a gold field resource of my choice, I'm going to go for the ore, as I strive to get a city on either the 4-8 or the 5-8. So if they place a pirate ship in this water hex right here, they would actually steal a resource card from me. And I wouldn't be allowed to build any new ships in that area or move any open ships from that area. So keep that in mind, which is why I built the 2 roads, because now they can't put the pirate ship, well, they could put the pirate ship here on this gold hex between the 5s. They want to steal a resource from me because pirate ships don't affect roads, only ships. So I wouldn't be allowed to build any new ships off of this settlement. However, I want to get a card stolen from me. So before we start this turn, I will play the knight, and I will shut down red's 8 sheep. I'll steal a sheep. I'll roll the dice. It's going to be an 8. I will get double brick. And there is also a lot of brick out there. But I already used the knight, so I can't play 2 development cards in the same turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to 2 sheep and 4 brick for 2 ore, and I will city up on the 5-8. And then I'll pass the dice. So this gameplay, you can't expect to have such a steamroll ahead of everyone else gameplay like this. This is kind of rare. But I only built on 3 different numbers, and it turns out ended up working out for me. Even though purple cut me off to the 5-10 3-1 port, you still see they still have been struggling to build on that spot because they haven't been trading, and they only have an 11 wheat for their wheat production. And the occasional roll of 7, it's a very hit or miss whether they'll steal a wheat. Red just gained an 11 wheat by building on this 11 wheat, but for some reason, Red has chosen not to build ships out to this bottom island, which will net them +3 victory points. And if you look at the dice statistics, 10, actually 10 has only been rolled once, so their wood production is almost non-existent, so that's why. Do, 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 do. I am playing, they're mad at the chat. I am playing my own game. Okay, so I hope we can finish out this game before if they both, rage quit or something like that. So yeah, basically heading for new shores, build near the coastline, and build towards the east coastline because you're gonna want to get off the main island and build out to these extra islands for the +3 special victory points. Well, I guess we got most of that gameplay in. But it did say that I can continue my session with AI players. Unfortunately, how do I continue the session? Yeah, they both quit, but what can I do? At least I got the tutorial in, I wanted to finish out the gameplay, but usually you were able to finish out the gameplay even if both players quit. They would just put in AIs instead. Okay, well anyways, this has been Heading for New Shores. I'll see if there's a way that I can continue the gameplay, but it's the 14 victory points. I was just about to get there. I was planning on buying 2 more development cards to get 2 knights to then play those knights to get largest army, and that was 14 victory points to get me the win. Or if production was coming in like crazy, like off the 4s, 5s, and 6s, and now the 8s, I would have built up another city and built a settlement on this open 6 brick spot, and that would have been the win as well. So also, as you will know from playing Base Catan, having multiple of the same number being built on it is also huge. So I had the 5 wood and the 5 wheat, and then I gained the 5 gold. So anytime a 5 was rolled, my production was 6 cards. Or would have been 6 cards, because I never got a 5 after I built the city on that 5 gold. With the 6s, I had 3 brick and 2 sheep coming in, 5 cards off a 6. With the 4s, I had 2 ore and 1 gold of my choice, 3 cards coming in off a 4. And I did touch on the 11, but I don't know if I actually got an 11 to be rolled after I built on it. But that just goes to show you, sometimes if you don't have that many numbers, but you just build yourself up on a couple numbers, you can also have a really good game. So keep that in mind. Remember, wood and a sheep to build your ship. Build them out to the gold as quickly as you can. Build on the gold. Then draw 1 resource of your choice anytime that number gets rolled. City up on that settlement that you have on the gold so you can get 2 resources of your choice. And then if you can do the ultimate move, in my mind, with gold, which is to build 3 cities on the gold, then you'll get 6 cards of your choice. And at that point, you're probably pretty close to winning the game anyways. So I also, instead of the largest army or settlement and city, I could have actually built 1, 2, 3 ships to the 3 brick and got an additional +3 victory points and won that way if it was faster to win that way. Which would have costed me 3 wood and 3 sheep for the ships, and then a wood, brick, sheep, and wheat for the settlement to win the game. So I'm going to go ahead and quit. It looks like there's no option for me to continue playing on, but I did get to 12, almost 14. This has been the Heading for New Shores tutorial, and I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you learned something. If you're watching this on YouTube on the playback, comment down with your questions or your comments or your strategies on what you would do in the Heading for New Shores scenario, and I will see you all in the next tutorial. Thanks for watching.